The journey of resilience, the well-formed outcome. Dealing with challenges is an inevitable part of life. At some point, all of us experience loss or change or setbacks. Some of these will be relatively minor, whilst others, like the pandemic we currently face, are on a much larger scale. NLP is about giving people choice in how to respond to challenges and provides us with a practical set of steps called the well-formed outcome that anyone can take to help us to get from where we are now to a more resourceful place. Like planning any worthwhile journey, it's important to know as clearly as you can where you are now and where you want to get to, so that you can then decide the best route for you to get there. The steps on the well-formed outcome are a key set of questions that take us from being trapped in anxiety to being able to take action and do something about it. The first step on that journey is to know where you are now and what's happening for you. This begins with acceptance. It's okay to feel anxiety or stress or fear, and it's important to recognize when you do. If you want to change anything, you need to be clear and honest with yourself about your current situation. Once you've done that, you'll be in a much better position to decide what you want instead. One of the best ways of doing this is to write down what's bothering you. While the problem is in our heads, we become entangled in our thoughts and emotions about it, and it can become a monster. When we trap it in writing on paper, however, it gives us a little bit of perspective, and it makes the problem easier to deal with. Once you've written it down, you can then ask yourself the first key question: how is this a problem for me right now? While we can't individually change or deal with every problem in this world, we can decide what to do about how problems affect us. The heart of any problem is that there is a stimulus, which is someone or something that causes a response for you that you don't like. As the phrase attributed to the brilliant psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl reminds us, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our own response, and in our choice lies our growth and freedom. When you know what is causing a problem and how it affects you, it's easier to decide what your best response to it would be. The second step on the journey is to decide your destination or your outcome. An outcome is something that you can aim towards. The easiest way to do this is to ask yourself, what would I rather have? Or what would be better than this? Or what do I want instead? The trick with setting an effective outcome is to give your brain a destination to aim towards, a description of how you want things to be instead. I want to give up smoking, for example, is not an outcome because you're focusing your brain and your thinking on smoking, which makes you want to have a cigarette. Outcome thinking is about making sure you give yourself a direction or outcome to aim towards. For example, I want to be healthier and be able to get up in the morning and breathe. The third step is to check the ecology of your outcome. Each of us are individuals, but we are all part of larger systems such as our family, our work, our friendships, our networks, society as a whole. We also have different aspects of our lives that are important to us. And in NLP, this is known as our ecology. It is important to consider the consequences of achieving your outcome in relation to these wider relationships. Would there be any negative consequences as a result of you having this outcome? Would you have to give anything up in order to achieve it? The key question here is, if I could have this outcome right now, would I take it? Any yes buts that you hear will help you to go back and refine your outcome until you have a destination to aim for that's worth having for you. The fourth step is to make your outcome more specific by giving yourself a deadline. The deadline should be a specific date, not simply next week or next year. Without a specific deadline, other things will happen to take up your time and your outcome will drift away. If you give your outcome a specific date, it makes it easier to plan, prioritize, and you are much more likely to take the steps you need to get there. The fifth step is to be clear how you'll know you've reached your outcome. What will your evidence be that will let you know that something has actually changed for you? As a human being, the only way you'll know is through your senses. So the key question here is, how will I know I've got my outcome? What will I see or hear or feel? The final question is about what is within your control. Worrying about things that are outside of your control is perfectly natural, but doesn't actually help to resolve them. You must play an active part in achieving your own outcome. Outcomes that rely on other people to take action for you are not well formed, and if people don't respond in the way you want them to, it often leaves you stuck. Instead, focus on what you need to do to get others to respond in a way that's helpful for you and them. For example, if you want to develop a better relationship with a work colleague, instead of thinking of how they need to change, think of what you could do to develop your relationship. So the final question to ask yourself is, what's within my control? And what can I do to achieve my outcome? When you know what's within your control and what you can do to achieve it, you are ready to make a difference. So to recap, the journey of resilience follows the steps of the well-formed outcome. Identify the problem. Write what's bothering you down and ask, how is this a problem for me right now? Set an outcome. Ask yourself, what do I want instead? Check the ecology. Ask yourself, if I could have this right now, would I take it? Set a deadline. Ask yourself, when do I want this? Know your evidence. Ask yourself, how will I know I've got this? What will I see or hear or feel? Know what's in your control and take action. Ask yourself, what's within my control and what can I do to achieve my outcome?